the reason I wanted to be a lawyer, the honest reason, was that I knew I wasn't going to be able to play pro football. This is the comical part of it. The reason I became a lawyer is I liked the challenge of the adversarial nature of our legal system. There's always somebody on the other side of you, somebody that's trying to get the best of you, and generally you have the obligation to get the best of him or her. I like that part of the challenge. The beauty of it, and what has really drawn me to it, and what's made me stay with it for 30 years, is that I represent people. And you can see the difference that my work does in people's lives and over the course of their future and their children's future. And I don't know if really, maybe other than medicine or perhaps, and obviously the clergy, but there are not very many professions that you can have that kind of impact, a positive impact on an individual's life. And that's why I've stayed with it, and that's why I love it so much. I was born and raised on the north side of Fort Worth, a third generation native Texan. Went to high school, Fort Worth ISD, and did my undergraduate work at UTA. Did my law school work at South Texas College of Law in Houston. Been working in actually before I went to law school, was working for personal injury lawyers. Old lawyer here in town years ago by the name of Wallace Craig, who was a tough plaintiff's lawyer. I worked for him a couple of years before I went to law school, graduated from college, and then went to law school. Graduated from law school and did my 2 years residency requirement, and then did my last year of law school actually working for Wallace. So I actually tried my first lawsuit before I ever had a law license. Back in those days, you could try a lawsuit. You could try a jury trial if you had a lawyer in the courthouse that would sponsor you, and Wallace did that for me. So I tried my first lawsuit at 24. I've been practicing law in Tarrant County for 30 years. I have been board certified personal injury trial law since my first year of eligibility, which was 25 years ago. But when you consider that I got to actually, I was exposed to the personal injury practice 5 years before I ever got my law license, it gives me about 35 years worth of on-the-ground experience in the personal injury field.
I've been with Brice for 10 years. He's a great lawyer. He works so hard, night and day. He really cares about his clients. Several of his clients end up becoming friends, and we keep up with them years after their cases are gone. I think he takes a personal investment in these people. They're more than just clients to him. So he tries to serve them as best he can. And most of the time that works out, with favorable recoveries for them. But more than that, he looks beyond just handling a case for them and trying to be a counselor for them for the years that we have them as clients. And like I said, even afterwards, people will call him for advice that isn't necessarily legal advice. They just look to him as a source of knowledge and advice. I think one thing that our firm does that not every firm does is from the moment a client calls, we give them the time they need, without regard to how much time that is, to find out what's happened to them. Sometimes people don't know what kinds of case they may have. They have an idea, they know they've been hurt, but if you limit your questioning and the time you spend with them to sort of a form interview, you often miss things that are pertinent. So typically I spend at least half an hour on the phone with somebody finding out what happened to them. And for some people, they don't have a lot of answers because they had no idea I would go into such detail with them. But I think that's part of when you care about the person, you care a little bit beyond their 2-minute explanation of what's happened to them. So I think that's one thing we do differently is we stop what we're doing, we're not in a hurry, and we sit and listen.
We say on the website that we have the words capable, caring, and candid, and The reason why those words are important to me is that we're capable because I have the experience in doing this successfully for 30 years. We carry a board certification, which isn't easy to get. It's not easy to maintain. And, we have consistently maintained it. I've been recertified every year of my recertification. We do the continuing legal education that we need that requires that. We're either going to seminars or speaking at seminars and doing the self-study that we need to do to stay on top of the law. But we also have the experience of handling our own cases in the trenches. We do the work in Parker County, Palapinta County, Dallas County, Tarrant County. We go where our cases take us, and we do it ourselves as opposed to referring it out. The capable part of it means that we're up for the job and we like to fight. The candid part of it is I think one of the most important things you can be with a client, and that is candid, and that is telling them what they need to hear. I frequently will tell clients, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you. I'm going to tell you the straight of it so that when it comes time for you to make the decisions that you need to make, you will be educated as best as I can educate you on the facts and how the law applies to those facts and what outcome you can anticipate at trial in either analyzing a preparation for trial or in analyzing a settlement proposal that in lieu of a trial. The caring part of it is one of the things that I will frequently tell clients when they come in the door in a wrongful death case is that there are 8 stages of grief. These folks are coming in to see me having suffered the loss and in the middle of the grieving process, and a wrongful death claim will interfere with that grief. I'm aware of that, and I'll take steps and I'll do what I can to try to minimize the impact that wrongful death litigation has on the grief process. But I can't minimize or alleviate all of it. And I work with the clients. I tell them at every chance I can, look, I've got to be objective about this, and I don't want you to think I'm being cold and calculated, but occasionally you need someone to be cold and calculated for you, and that's just the nature of what I have to do under these situations. I've lost both of my parents. I'm not totally insensitive to what they're going through, and we will frequently represent parents who have lost children, and my grief experts tell me that that's one of the worst things anybody can go through. And we don't ever look past that. And we're aware of when an individual, a family member has a catastrophic injury, that injury just doesn't affect that one family member. It affects the whole family. That whole family's life is changed. And we're aware of that. And we work with them to help the client know that we don't ever lose sight. It's their life that's been affected. Sympathy means, you hurt and I feel for you. Empathy is, you hurt and I understand. We know that you hurt and we know that your family's hurt and we don't ever lose sight of that.